distinguished members of the faculty of Campus Law Center, University of Delhi, members of the Ethiccraft Club, Dr. Seema Singh, Conference Director and Assistant Professor, Campus Law Center, University of Delhi, Professor Raman Mittal, Professor in Charge, Campus Law Center and Ethiccraft Club, members of the legal fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. A good morning, everyone attending the e-conference. I consider myself very fortunate and highly honored to be here with you today in the International E-Conference, the purpose of which is to deliberate on the subject law and spirituality, exploring the bonds. I take this opportunity to congratulate the organizers of this conference for choosing the above topic, considering the relevancy in the present day scenario. I especially congratulate Dr. Seema Singh for organizers of the conference for such a useful event to bring together so many experts and learned dignitaries on one platform. Though I am not an expert to speak on the subject chosen with my limited knowledge, I will try to my best to share with you some of my ideas and thoughts on the topic law and spirituality, exploring the bonds. Before going deep into the subject, let me explain the plain meaning of law and spirituality. According to Oxford English Dictionary, law is the system of rules which a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the actions of its member, which it may enforce by the imposition of penalty. The expression law is universally used to denote a common concept throughout the world. In ancient Indian context, the expression law was known as dharma. Dharma is what is firm and durable, what sustains and maintains, what hinders failing applied to the universe. Dharma signifies the eternal laws which maintain the world. Dharma is the action which permits man to realize his destiny to the full, sustain him in his life, and assures his well-being after death. By its own virtue, that and produces a spiritual benefit for him who has performed it, which will necessarily bear fruit in the other world. In pre-Christian area, dharma rests primarily and essentially on Veda. It was codified by different sages with dharma sutras, and namely Dharma Sutra by Gautam, Dharma Sutra by Vasishtha, Vishnu Sutra and others, and of course the Manu Smriti. In the modern world, relevancy and importance of dharma is although still there, but law which governs the society is law enacted by competent legislature and laws declared by High Court and the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of India had occasion to interpret the expression law on many occasions. Dr. A.K. Shikri speaking for Supreme Court in Badshah versus Urmila Badshah Godse 2014, 1 SCC 188 and paragraph 16 stated High Court. The law regulates relationship between people. It prescribes patterns of behavior. It reflects the values of society. The role of the court is to understand the purpose of law in society and to help the law achieve its purpose. But the law of society is a living organism. It is based on a given factual and social reality that is constantly changing. Sometimes change in law precedes societal change and it even intended to stimulate it. In most cases, however, a change in law is the result of change in social reality. Indeed, when social reality changes, the law must change too. Just as change in social reality is the law of life, responsiveness to change in social reality is the life of the law. It can be said that history of law is the history of shaping the law to the society's changing needs. In both constitutional and statutory interpretation, the court is supposed to exercise discretion in determining the proper relationship between the subjective and objective purpose of the law. Nigam Dharmadhikari J in the state of MP versus Jaybir Singh 2005 5 SCC page 1 in paragraph 34 elaborating the concept of the law stated, I quote, the spirit of the law is not to be searched in the ideology or philosophy which might have inspired it, but it may be found in the experience of the people who made and put it into practice. Justice K. Ramaswamy defines law as a social engineering and an instrument of social change evolved by a gradual and continuous process. In A.S. Narayan Dikshuli versus State of Andhra Pradesh, 1996, 9 SCC 548, in paragraph 90, he stated, law is a social engineering and an instrument of social change evolved by a gradual and continuous process. History and custom, utility and accepted standards of right conduct are the forms which singly or in combination shall be progress of law. Law is universally acknowledged as a regulator of human conduct. As the society and nation advances, they require regulations to regulate the conduct of people to obtain maximum benefit to society and the nation. It was belief of all nations, the society based to law will make this world a better place to live. This quote in MC Behta versus Union of India, 1992, 1 SCC 358 in paragraph 3 stated, law is a regulator of human conduct, as the professor of jurisprudence say, but no law can indeed effectively work unless there is an element of acceptance by the people in society. No law works out smoothly unless the interaction is voluntary. In order that human conduct may be in accordance with the prescription of law, it is awareness about what the law requires, and there is an element of acceptance that the acceptance and the requirement of law is grounded upon a philosophy which should be followed. This would be possible only when steps are taken in an adequate measure to make people aware of the indisputable necessity of this conduct being oriented in accordance with the requirement of law. The expression law came to be explained in Article 13(3) of the Constitution of India, which provides law includes any ordinance, order, bylaw, rule, regulation, notification, custom or usage having in the territory of India in the force of law. A very wide definition is provided in the Constitution. Law is explained in somewhat similar manner in other countries' Constitution and is a concept well known to the legal fraternity, which need no further elaboration. The word spirituality is formed from the word spirit. The word spirit comes from the Latin word spiritus, meaning to breathe. The Oxford Advanced Learner's Dictionary defines spirit as a part of the person that includes their mind, feelings and character rather than their body, unquote. Same dictionary defines the word spiritual as connected with the human spirit rather than the body or physical things. Spirituality is a unique state of mind of an individual to follow the righteous path in the journey of life. Broadly speaking, a person who is having a spiritual mindset will obey the rules recognized by society and community without any reluctance. After knowing the meaning of above words, naturally the question that comes before us is what is law and what is spirituality? Law is the cement of society and also an essential medium of change. Knowledge of law increases one's understanding of public affairs. Its study promotes accuracy of expression, facility in argument, and skill in interpreting the written word, as well as some understanding of social values. Law forms an integral part of the society as it assists in the creation and maintenance of social order. The most obvious way in which law contributes to the maintenance of social order is the way in which it deals with disorder or conflict. Society and law are closely related to each other. Law also changes with social changes and plays an important role in the fulfillment of social needs. Law has a functional role to perform in an ever-growing society. From its inception, law has been at work shaping and reshaping the social order. In the present day scenario, the main function of law is to act as an effective instrument of social engineering. Law has its strongest place in the society where there are different kinds of interests which must be balanced against each other. The word law gains importance where it stands with the word justice. Justice means exercise of authority in maintenance of right. Law is an instrument by which justice can be achieved. In other words, Justice is the administration of what is due to a person. Justice is divided mainly into legal justice and natural justice. Justice legal refers to justice governed by the positive law of the state, and moral justice arises when justice is governed by the natural law or law of moral conscience. Of the two, legal justice is always preferred over natural justice. The success of a legal system depends mainly upon the character and conduct of its stakeholder. The character and conduct of an individual is a reflection of his or her mindset. In this process, control of mind is very essential. The spiritual is a person whose spirits are high. The understanding and the usage prescribed to the expression at present is one whose actions lean towards divinity. I may quote Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, former President of India, who claims that all human beings carry divinity inside themselves. I quote Dr. Kalam, quote, I do believe that all human beings carry divinity inside themselves, and that this can lift us out of confusion, misery, melancholy, and failure, and indeed guide us when it is enacted, unquote. Hindu scriptures contain the concept of Atma and Paramatma, and Atma is regarded nothing but form of Paramatma. Dr. Kalam in his book Transcendence emphatically says, I quote, I realize that a divine life can have no base unless we recognize the eternal spirit as the inhabitant of this bodily mansion and integrate all of which the eternal spirit is comprised. That all those living on this planet Earth, around me, away from me, in my country, in other country, even other species and vegetarian and minerals are all different forms of a great unity. At the most elementary level, all nature is one. Only one noble material weaves constantly different garbs. Dr. Kalam exhorted all human beings to ignite our spirituality. He says that for us to ignite our spirituality, we need to look forward and transcend our egos. We need to recognize, connect with and integrate the eternal spirit within all pursuit of human being are to obtain happiness. Oswald Chambers, early 20th century Scottish Baptist, proclaimed, I quote, holiness, not happiness, is the chief end of a man, unquote. Dr. Kalam in same book, Transcendence, says that a spiritual component spreads the values to be inculcated by human being for promoting a good human life and welfare of society while pursuing material life, unquote. Dr. Kalam was regarded as great scholar and scientist by the country. He, after his experiences, said that, I quote, a place of worship is a bridge to connect us to a world beyond the physical, unquote. He stated that true spiritual place help us to transcend the world of man, connect to God, and attain enlightenment. Regular and sincere prayers can elevate the mind and help one to experience the divine. Thus, spirituality is a goal which all men should endeavor to attain to raise themselves from wear, tear, and worries of this world. I may clarify that for being a spiritual, a man is not to renounce the world or become a sannyasi. All men, while discharging their normal duties in this world, can march toward spirituality. Spirituality is a state after attaining which every man is at peace with himself and the world. Democritus, a pre-Socratic Greek philosopher, stated, I quote, happiness resides not in possession and not in gold. Happiness dwells in the soul, unquote. Brilliant words of Leo Tolstoy contains the silver lining amongst dark clouds. In his beautiful poem, Leo Tolstoy says, I quote, where there is a faith, there is a love. Where there is a love, there is a peace. Where there is a peace, there is a God. And where there is a God, there is no need, unquote. Importance of spiritual life has been emphasized by Gautam Buddha when he states, just as a candle cannot burn without the fire, men cannot live without a spiritual life, unquote. What is purpose and aim of our journey in this world has been succinctly explained by Gary Jugo, a spiritual teacher and author. He states, I quote, the purpose of our journey on this precious earth is now to align our personality with our souls. It is to create harmony, cooperation, sharing, and reverence for life. It is to grow spirituality. This is our new evolutionary pathway. Unquote. Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 45 said, Sve sve karmana bhirta sansit labhate narah swakarma nirata siddhi tatha vindati tachuru. Verse translated in English means, for performing attentively one's own activities, man attains spiritual function. Listen as to how one engages in his own duty reaches perfection. The Bhagavad Gita emphasizes on spiritual introspection to decipher the true object of life. In chapter 13, verse 12, Lord Krishna says, Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam yajjan divita proktam jnanam yadoto anyatha. Verse translated in English means, being constantly given to spiritual introspection, perceiving the true object of life as determined by the tenets of spiritual wisdom, all these together constitute true wisdom. Everything else is sheer ignorance. Spirituality is the stage at which control of minds take place. Practice of yoga and meditation are some of the tools to gain spiritual power. We know for scaling the heights of any profession, a strong and healthy mind is required. Nowadays, yoga and meditation are taught in all educational institutions. Yoga training has become part and parcel of the syllabus in judicial institutions like state judicial academies. It is because of the importance of yoga in our personal life, June 21 is observed as International Yoga Day. In order to get happiness in personal life and to excel in one's professional career, irrespective of whether it is legal, medical, teaching, or other field, he or she must be equipped with spiritual power, which is gained through practice of tools like yoga, meditation, etc. Practice of meditation develops our power of introspection. We can clearly see the working of the mind and also the range of our vision. It also develops the power of concentration, which is the great source of knowledge. The more the power of concentration, the greater is the power of acquiring knowledge. Concentration means conservation of energy. Friends, we know that mind is just a function of the body or some kind of bodily condition. The tendency is to unite the mind with body or align the body with the mind. Naturally, mind has been distinguished from matter. The nature of the mind is very difficult to understand because the mind is very subtle as well as hidden. The importance of the human mind cannot be overestimated. Man's progress, material, intellectual, artistic, moral, and spiritual, depends on development of the mind. Mind is the cause of bondage and also the cause of freedom. If the mind is well cared to complete freedom, but if the mind is uncared for, untrained and undeveloped, then one remains in bondage. Our happiness and unhappiness, knowledge and ignorance, success and failure, strength and weakness depend on the nature of the mind. Our outer achievements are but a manifestation of our inner attainment. It is because of the superiority of the mind that humanity is superior to all other living creatures. Mind is said to be one's greatest friend as well as one's worst enemy. If the mind is fully controlled, then it will prove to be your best friend. But if you lose control over the mind, it will prove to be your worst enemy. Our strength and weakness, happiness and unhappiness, knowledge and ignorance, freedom and bondage, all depend on the nature or condition of the mind. And physical health, to attain knowledge in anything, we have to practice control of the mind. The mind, because it is made of pure substance, can transmit consciousness. It is pure substance, its very nature is pure. Extraneous things that have gathered in the subconscious and conscious mind cause disturbances. The first thing is to rectify them by the exercise of reason, to clear the mind of wrong and let the right remain. As stated before, the first necessary is to find an ideal, a great ideal in life that you can hold to and devote yourself wholeheartedly to the attainment. This is the great secret of self-control. It will lead to the power of discrimination. The power of discrimination will develop your power, your willpower, and that will enable you to control the emotions also. Both emotions and reason are necessary, but the emotions must be controlled by will. So far as legal profession is concerned, in the 21st century, which is expanding globalization, law has ceased to be a traditional profession. Now it is a highly specialized field of education. Education in law is no more an option of last resort. It is now a coveted course of professional education. Obviously, due to drastic changes in the field of judiciary, the position of the lawyer has become very important in society. So also, the responsibility of a lawyer to strictly follow the rules of ethics in his or her professional life has increased tremendously. Duty, only when such an attitude to respect for law and respect for the courts which administer law is developed in one's mind, he or she can be said to be successful in his or her profession. This can be possible only when that person is fully equipped with strong spiritual power. The spiritual power is not a thing which can be acquired on a fine morning or within a short span of time. Anybody can acquire spiritual power provided that person has got the willpower to acquire the same through regular practice of the supporting tools. For example, if we take legal profession, apart from discharging his duties, the lawyer has a large responsibility towards the society. An ideal advocate should believe that legal profession has an element of service and associates with legal service activities. Ultimately, what makes a law graduate an ideal advocate is the spiritual mind that he or she possesses. The mindset that a lawyer develops from his spiritual power makes him to obey the rules of ethics while pursuing his professional career. Every profession by its nature is noble, but the question that may be posed is what makes a profession noble? The answer is simple. The attitude and mindset of the member of that profession to follow the path of righteousness and to obey the rules of ethics. In this context, I would like to remind my brothers and sisters who are attending this e-conference that first of all, you should focus your attention in shaping your technological skill in order to survive and excel in the profession chosen by you, as you are being forced to work on virtual platform on account of the pandemic situation preventing in our country and the entire world. For few words also need to be stated about interrelation of law and spirituality. The organizers of this e-conference in introduction of the subject has very succinctly crystallized the scheme in following words. I quote, "The spirituality is the progenitor of ethics and morality, which is in turn have always provided a context for determining the validity of law. Development of the legal system therefore has an imprint of a spiritual process which seeks to promote peace, harmony, and reduction of conflict in society. A society would flourish more with amity and happiness where law is in tune with spirituality, while more conflicts have been observed in society where law denies spirituality." His Excellency, the Governor of Kerala, in his inaugural address, referred to a story by Munshi Premchand, that is Panch Parameshwar, which gives a message about the function of Panch, that is of a judge, as a spiritual function. In earlier period of our country, function of the law was manifestation of spirituality. When aim of human life is to attain peace and enlightenment, our laws which are to regulate human conduct should be such which may facilitate all human beings to achieve the highest good. As said earlier, a spiritual person shall be more keen to follow the law and conduct himself according to dharma. The lawgivers may keep inside the spiritual aspect of life while making the law. The goal of all organizations and society, all parts of government, including legislature, is to ensure that first, laws made are voluntarily obeyed. Secondly, laws made may bring maximum peace and happiness amongst its subjects. And thirdly, laws made may not be in conflict with spiritual attainment by its subjects. From the above discussion, it is crystal clear that a bond exists between law and spirituality, which cannot be separated. If we try to separate them, it will seriously affect the very existence of one or other. Now, time has come to wind up my speech. I am sure participation in this 3-day e-conference will help you all to improve your knowledge and skill, thereby equip you to face the present day challenges with more confidence and vigor. May I conclude with a celestial song by Mahakavi Kalidas, which contains a benediction for human welfare, the translation of which is as follows. I quote: May all overcome their difficulties. May all experience bliss. May all fulfill their wishes. May all rejoice everywhere. Unquote. Thank you, Jai Hind.